I'm gonna get the salmon cooking now. I've just got a little oil in a skillet. While the salmon keeps cooking, I'm gonna drain the grain. I'm using farro, which is such a delicious, nutty grain. I don't use it very often, but it's perfect for a bowl like this with veggies and salmon. It has a really great texture. It's a little bit chewy. Now I want to rinse it to stop the cooking process. This is going to be a cold salad, so I want to stop it in its tracks, and that way the texture is just perfect. Okay, I'm going to check the salmon. I think it's time to turn. I'm going to make a super simple dressing for the veggie grain bowl. I'll start with a little olive oil. I've got a lemon, and I'll zest a little bit of it. And then I'll cut the lemon in half and squeeze in half the juice. Now I had a shallot in my fridge, so I'm gonna use it. Okay, sprinkle in some salt and pepper. This is a very shalloty dressing. Now I'll take the other half of the lemon and squeeze it right over this sizzly salmon. I always like to have a little bit of citrus when I cook salmon. It's a perfect flavor combination. Now I've got some veggies for the veggie grain bowl. And this is one of those things where you just kind of open your veggie drawer and see what you have and use what you want. I've got some radishes, which I thought would be really lovely. And I'm just slicing some sugar snap peas. I've also got an avocado. Now for the salmon, I just need to break it up into chunks. Look how luscious and tender that is. I'll grab some of the farro. Now I've got to lay all of this wonderfulness on top, starting with the salmon, the sugar snap peas, nice and crunchy, the sliced radishes, and I'll take the avocado slices, put them around the edge. How delightful is this? The last thing is the dressing. I've got some fresh dill. Look at this bowl of beauty. Love it. So I've got mushrooms, yellow squash, red onion, and asparagus. And I'm drizzling with olive oil. I'm gonna grab salt and pepper. You know the drill. And then I've got some Italian seasoning, which is also kind of like Mediterranean seasoning, depending on what's in it. The bottle actually said Mediterranean/Italian seasoning. So they're not exactly the same, but there's a lot of overlap. All right, and then I'm gonna use tongs just to stir everything together. So I scooted them all over to one side. And now I've got some colossal shrimp, which is actually known as U15 shrimp, meaning there are under 15 shrimp per pound. And spreading them out, and then I'm actually gonna sprinkle just a little bit of salt and pepper on the shrimp. But this is basically the beginning of the recipe, and it's gonna get more interesting from here. A little bit more Mediterranean seasoning. And then let's go get this pan in the oven, Paigey. So this is gonna go in a 425-degree oven for about 15 minutes or so. And when I put these in, I'm also gonna add some pita that I have wrapped in foil, and it's gonna warm at the same time everything else cooks. All right? All right, while the shrimp and veggies finish cooking, I'm gonna make a delicious lemony yogurt sauce for the pitas. So it starts with yogurt, plain Greek yogurt to be exact. All right, so lemon juice and then a whole bunch of lemon zest. This is very lemony. And some fresh dill, chopped. So Paige, look at this. Can you wrap your head around this or what? Isn't that pretty? Okay, and then a little bit of salt and pepper. And give it one more stir. And then, you know what time it is, Paige? Let's go get the shrimp and veggies out of the oven. And the pita, we can't forget the pita. All right, check it out. Ooh, that looks so good. And I'm gonna grab the pita bread, which is nice and warm and soft by now. Boy, it smells good in this kitchen. I love food like this, don't you?
Looks
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Look at this.
Those
Okay,
shrimp are huge.
I have a lot of things going on. Well, it's colossal shrimp, hello. All right, so I've got some more lemon and I'm gonna squeeze it over the shrimp and the veggies and stir with tongs. And there's some juice in the bottom of the pan and that's just perfect because it makes everything just much more delicious and succulent. And then everybody can build their own, and this is how you build it. Woo, warm. So I've got this delicious lemony yogurt sauce. So I'll put a nice, generous quantity in the warm pita, and then a couple of pieces of lettuce, and some tomato. Just shove in there as much as you can. And then I'm gonna start with veggies first, and then a couple of these massive shrimp. I've never seen anything like this. They're big and beautiful and shrimpy.
Big, beautiful, and shrimpy.
And then feta. I love the combination of the roasted veggies, the cooked shrimp, the cool feta, and the sliced mixed olives, and then you've got that lemony yogurt down inside.
Mom!
I had to, I'm sorry. Ooh, that is really good. Great combination of ingredients. So I'm making the base for the dip now, and it's Greek yogurt, softened cream cheese, lemon juice, lemon zest, and then I'll add some garlic powder and onion powder. You can also do fresh garlic if you are so inclined. And then salt and pepper. And I'm gonna whip this up until it's really smooth. Ooh, that smells good. All right, that creamy base is sufficiently creamy, so I'm gonna move on with some chopped parsley. All right, so a bunch of chopped fresh parsley goes into the clam dip. And I'm gonna chop some green onions. I'll put some of them in the dip and then some of them are gonna go on top. This is actually a cold clam dip. It's not baked. All right, so the green onions go in. Again, I'm gonna save some of them back. Oops, and some of the parsley too. I forgot and put it all in there.
For garnish.
Okay, and then since this is clam dip, I thought it would be appropriate to add some clams. So I'm using good quality canned clams, which is a perfectly acceptable life choice. And I drained them and chopped them. A hot sauce is optional, but it not only adds a little bit of heat, but it also adds that unmistakable flavor and bite. So I'm gonna fold the clams so they don't get all beaten up. I don't want to mix them, but look at this.
Wow.
I'm not going to ask Paige what she thinks because at this point in her life, she's not a lover of seafood, but Alex, I think you're going to love this.
I think I might like it.
All right, so I have a cute little shallow dish, and I'm going to scoop the clam dip right in there. All right, so come look at this, Alex. And it was so easy. There wasn't much complicated about it at all. So I'm just gonna garnish it with the parsley and green onion that I reserved. And then before I cover it, I wanna take a little taste of it. I wish I had those fresh potato chips to try. Oh man. Ooh, that's good. I better try another bite. You know, you could do like chopped cooked shrimp. You could do like chopped lobster if you wanted to. You could turn any seafood into like a cold dip. I love the clams though. They're kind of briny and they go so well with that creamy base. Creamy lemon pasta with steak and lobster. So I added some butter to a pretty hot skillet. And I just added some lobster meat. It's claw and knuckle meat, and it just looks amazing. It's all I can do not to just reach in here and go for it. So the point here is not to cook the lobster because actually the lobster is already cooked. I just need to heat it up and sort of get it coated in that butter. And now I'm gonna add a little more butter to the pan. I had a mixture of butter and olive oil to put the lobster in. Okay, so I'm gonna crank up the heat and I'm gonna grab the beef, which is, because it's a special occasion, beef tenderloin, which...
Oh, wow!
Nice.
Stop.
That's just the kind of reaction I look for in a crew member of this cooking show. So I've got not too much because tenderloin is a very expensive cut of meat. And I'm gonna grab some lemon pepper seasoning since it's kind of a lemon vibe in the pasta. But I just wanna cook these chunks to medium rare. It's gonna take a couple minutes. The tenderloin's gonna rest, and by the time the pasta's ready, it is going to be absolutely perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna make the sauce right in the same skillet. I've got finely diced shallots and minced garlic, some red pepper flakes, woo!
Whoa.
Oops, minced oregano and thyme. Woo, it's popping. And then I'm gonna stir this around to release the magic. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward with this delicious pasta sauce. I'm gonna add quite a bit of wine. Woo, that is some brown butter sauce there. All right, so this has reduced just a little bit, and I'm adding some cream
Oh my gosh.
and quite a bit of lemon zest. Now I'm just gonna let this thicken up and reduce for probably just a minute because this pan is so hot. And after that, we'll pull this pasta together. Okay, and then whenever I make a pasta sauce, I always reserve a little bit of the pasta water and just pour it in just to give it a little bit of thinness so it doesn't get too gloopy. So for the pasta itself, I'm using angel hair, which I think is so good with any light creamy pasta because it just kind of coats the noodles. It's already cooked, standing by, and then I'm just going to toss it.
Whoa.
Baby. Check it
You've
out.
done it again.
Okay, and then normally I'd squeeze a lemon over, but I just went ahead and juiced a lemon. I'm just gonna kind of pour a little bit of juice, but it looks better when you squeeze a lemon. And then lots of parsley all over. So there's the turf. And then look at this glorious lobster, you guys.
It looks so good, Mom.
This has Alex and Mauricio written all over it. First thing you need to do is get some veggies prepped. To start with some onion, and I'll just cut off the top and the tail. And I'll just get the outer peel off. Basically, these are cheesy quesadillas with onions and peppers and this surprisingly sweet addition of pineapple, which is going to light your quesadilla fire in a big way. I'm just gonna cut the onions into pretty big chunks. These are gonna go into a skillet, so you don't need to dice them finely, and you want the quesadillas to have nice big chunks of veggies. Here's a little piece of trivia about quesadillas and me. They happen to be my #1 pregnancy craving with all 4 of my children. Moms, you know those days when you're expecting a baby and there's nothing that sounds good to eat. Well, on those days for me, quesadillas were what I wanted, and I still love them every bit as much as when I was pregnant with my babies. So the onions are prepped, and I'm gonna get some red bell peppers prepped. You can use any color of bell pepper you like, and I'm kind of taking the easy road and just kind of shaving off slabs of the peppers. I'm doing red and green, but I really love to do orange and yellow. I really like bell peppers, especially in my quesadillas. Okay, and then once you have the big pieces cut, you can just kind of go to town and cut them into different sized chunks. Again, I love a recipe that doesn't require a fine, neat dice of vegetables. I like to just kind of hack away and wind up with a big pile of veggies. If you want to, you can add mushrooms to this quesadilla. Really, any veggie that you like. You can do chunks of zucchini and summer squash. It kind of depends on what time of year it is and what you have in abundance in your produce drawer. corn is delicious. If you have some fresh sweet corn, you can shave the kernels off the cob. Anything goes. The only thing that's important about quesadillas is that you have lots of cheese. So I'm going to make sure this skillet is getting hot. You want to use a big skillet so you have plenty of room. And I'm going to add a mixture of butter. Woo, that's a hot skillet. And a little bit of olive oil. And then that basically got hot instantly. So you can put the veggies straight into the pan. Careful not to splash. See, this is why I wear patterned clothes when I cook, because if I splash a little oil on myself, nobody will ever know, and they'll think I'm such a neat cook because I never get food on my clothes, but now you know the truth. Okay, now you want to start cooking the veggies. Basically, you want to cook them over pretty high heat, medium to medium high, because you want the veggies to get some nice color on the edges. A little bit of black won't hurt. Meantime, you want to get a griddle over some heat and get it heated up. I'm using a cast iron griddle, but you can use a non-stick griddle, or if you don't have a griddle, you can do just a big iron skillet or non-stick skillet. Okay, so while the peppers and onions start to cook, I'm going to get some chunks of pineapple. Now, I am using a fresh pineapple, but you can buy the little containers of pineapple chunks that they sell in grocery stores. Those are really handy. And I really like prepping fresh pineapples. Lad and my boys absolutely love them. And I just cut off the top and the bottom, and then I'll just go down around the edges and shave off that prickly skin, or prickly rind, I'm not sure what you call it with pineapple. And then all of this can go away. And then I kind of line up 2 points and then rotate it and kind of find the points and then just cut through. And then you wind up with these neat little spears. And I think I'm going to need probably 2. And then what I do is just kind of slice off that middle core that's really tough. Having a sharp knife is always good. And then you have these nice little lines, and you can just cut them into chunks. Sometimes I make this quesadilla without the pineapple, but one day I just decided to throw pineapple into the mix, and it was so darn good. If I have pineapple in my fridge, I usually include it in this recipe. Okay, the peppers and onions are coming along. So now you grab the pineapple and throw it in. You don't want to add the pineapple first because the onions and peppers take a little bit longer to cook. And you don't want the pineapple to get overly mushy. So the peppers and onions need a little bit of a head start. So easy so far. I'm going to season the veggies with some salt. Give it one more stir. Now these need to cook a little bit longer so they can get some good color. I'm going to crank up the heat, live on the wild side a little bit. Okay, so don't be afraid to just walk away from the skillet and let the veggies and the pineapple really start to get some great color. So I'm going to get the shrimp ready. So I'm using deveined peeled shrimp, which is the easiest way to use shrimp. You don't have to do all the prep work yourself. I'm going to grab a bowl. And then you want to take the shrimp and just scrape it into a bowl. Then you don't have to get your fingers all dirty. The more I can avoid washing my hands a million times during one recipe, the better. Now I've got some Mexican red sauce. You can use enchilada sauce, anything in that category. And I'm going to pour probably about a cup over the shrimp, and then I'll give this a stir. And you want to just let the shrimp sit in the red sauce before you cook it. They're not really marinating, you're just kind of getting them started with a good coat of this sauce. Okay, that's all the prep you need to worry about with the shrimp. So back to the skillet. Let's check on the peppers and the pineapple and the onions. Look at this, they're already starting to get gorgeous color. And it's exactly what I had in mind, which is just little brown and black bits around the edges. To me, that just says flavor. It just says you've spent a little bit more time cooking the veggies, giving them a little bit of care. When those edges start to caramelize, oh, the difference in flavor is amazing. I'm gonna turn the heat way down on this skillet because boy, is it hot. You don't need that heat anymore. And then just carefully pour the veggies onto a plate. I was a little ambitious with this plate. It's not very big. I didn't lose too many. That's all right. Shake and get most of those out of there. So now you want to take the shrimp in the sauce, and it goes right into this hot pan. And you know how quickly shrimp cooks. That is not going to take long at all. You just want to get the shrimp into a single layer and let them start to cook on the first side. Now I've got the griddle going, so I'm going to get started on assembling the quesadillas. I've got this nice hot griddle, but not too hot. Now I said cheese is the most important thing about quesadillas. Butter is the second most important thing. You have to trust me on this. You want to put about a tablespoon of butter for each quesadilla you're going to cook. And then I'm using the smallest size of flour tortilla that I could find and just put it right on top of each little smear of butter. And now comes the cheese. You can use whatever cheese you happen to have in your fridge. This is regular Jack cheese. You can use pepper jack, a mix of cheddar and jack. There's a delicious Mexican cheese called Chihuahua that's really beautifully smooth and melty, which is my favorite word. So after you get the cheese on there, you can start adding the pineapples and the peppers, and be generous. You don't want to be conservative about these veggies and pineapples. This is the good stuff right here. I really like to cook quesadillas this way, where you put the bottom tortillas on first and start building everything. You just have to watch and make sure the underside does not burn. Sometimes it's a tricky balance. So back to the shrimp. You just want to check it, make sure it's cooked. They're real tightly curled and opaque. So you just want to put probably 3 shrimp on each quesadilla. And if you want to, you can also chop the shrimp after it's cooked, and you can just add little bits to the quesadilla. I kind of like keeping them in big chunks. Quesadillas are super fun for a party. You can kind of lay out all the fixins and your guests can help you assemble them. I love parties like that. Okay, so we need to put the top tortillas on. And it looks like this cheese is already pretty much melted. I'm gonna cheat real quick. Woo! I'm a cheater. I want it to be really cheesy when we cut into it. Okay. Okay, so the tops go on, and then this requires a spatula for sure. And I'm gonna check the underside. Oh my goodness, so pretty. So you kind of want to hold your hand on the top, make sure it's totally loosened, and then be careful, don't burn yourself on the cheese. Boop. Oh, lost a shrimp. We'll just pretend that never happened. We'll do the same to the first one. It needs just a few more seconds, but look at that gorgeous golden tortilla. And you will not ever get that if you don't add a lot of butter. And speaking of butter, I like to get a little bit more and just kind of scoot the tortilla over. It's like sweeping the butter under the rug a little bit. But you've got to get that beautiful golden consistency to the other side of the tortilla. All right, I'm gonna flip this one. Not quite as golden as the first, but I'll work on the second side. Look at all of this just cheesy, peppery, shrimpy goodness going on. And then, whoop, there goes the butter. I have had quesadillas before where just like a teeny bit of butter was used or no butter on the tortillas, and it's just a disappointment. What can I say? There's nothing worse than a disappointing quesadilla in my book, so you want to find ways to avoid being disappointed by your quesadillas. There are so many different ways you can go with quesadillas. Using this same pepper and onion mixture, you can do sauteed chicken, you can do sauteed beef, you could even make taco meat with just ground beef and taco seasoning and spoon it on instead of the shrimp. When I said I've never met a quesadilla I didn't like, I truly, truly meant it. I will take anything in my quesadillas, even just plain cheese quesadillas if it's really good cheese. Okay, this first one has had a second chance. I mean, how gorgeous does that look? Okay, now when the cheese starts to look like it's about to spill out everywhere all over the earth, that's when it's time to take the quesadillas off. I'm gonna bring in the help of a knife. A large spatula helps. Woo! If you lose a few pieces, no big deal. Just bring them over and pop them back in. And remind me to bring my huge spatula next time I come and make quesadillas here. I actually have something that I call my quesadilla spatula. It's about that big around. Okay, I'm gonna get the plate ready for the quesadillas. And of course, you have to have fixins, so I've got pico de gallo and guacamole, sour cream, all the essentials. And then I have found the best way to cut a quesadilla into wedges is to use a pizza cutter. So just kind of go in the center and push really hard, cut through, and then do the same in the other direction. Oh, this smells so good. Do the other one. This really is the ultimate party food in my book. Just having a quesadilla party. I would like every one of my future birthday parties to be quesadilla parties. Okie doke. I think I can do this with my fingers. You just want to arrange them on a plate so everyone can see the beautiful red and green peppers. You can overlap them, stack them, dance with them, propose marriage to them. Have I mentioned I love quesadillas? Okay, believe it or not, that is not my plate. I have a little plate for myself. But I'm gonna grab 2 pieces. Woo, nice and piping hot. Ooh, gosh. And then spoon on some pico, which is a must. Pico de gallo is basically a condiment in our house. And some guacamole. Get a new spoon for the sour cream. Okay, all right. This is actually going to be a fork situation for me. If I were by myself, I would go ahead and pick it up and eat it. I'm trying to have manners here. Trying is the operative word. Mmm. Oh, man. Mmm. Buttery golden tortilla, melty Monterey Jack, those saucy shrimp, they're amazing. And to top it off, the peppers and onions mixed with that sweet pineapple. Truly one of the best things you'll ever eat. Very family friendly and very, very fun. So I pulled the bread and asparagus off of the grill pan. The bread is sourdough.
Ooh.
Sliced and grilled with a little bit of butter. And then I tossed the asparagus in butter too, and I grilled it. So that's gonna just hang out until the finished dish is ready to assemble. So this is eggs Benedict with smoked salmon, and I need to poach the eggs. So I have a simmering pan of water, and it's just to the bubbling stage, and you can see that I'm creating basically a cyclone or tornado in the water, going a little bit faster and faster. And then as soon as it really starts to go, I'm gonna drop in 4 eggs. I'm gonna try to drop them in one at a time. There's 1, 2, 3, oh, 3, 4. That's okay. So then you can see, Alex, can you get in here and see this? You see how the whites are kind of starting to fold in around the yolks, and that's exactly what you want to happen. So I'm gonna get in here and just kind of make sure they're separate eggs that are poaching, not just one big egg with 4 yolks. That's happened to me before. So while the eggs are poaching, I'm gonna get started on the hollandaise sauce, and that's more egg yolks. This is a very egg yolky dish. And then I've got some lemon juice, and it goes in along with the zest from the same lemon. And I'm gonna give this a little bit of a buzz. Oh, I forgot to drop vinegar into the water. Oh my gosh. Tablespoon of vinegar in the water. I forgot to do it ahead of time. I'm just gonna do it now for fun. But it really helps kind of get those egg whites to kind of stick to the egg yolks. Okay, I'm gonna add some salt and pepper into the blender. This is kind of a magical sauce, hollandaise. To me, it's the most delicious sauce in the world.
Same.
Okay, now the secret is, Alex, look, I have sizzling melted butter in a little saucepan, and I'm gonna turn on the blender and drizzle this in slowly, and it's gonna emulsify and turn this into a sauce. So before I check the sauce, I'm actually gonna come back to the poached eggs because I don't want those to go too far. And look at this, Alex. Look at this beautiful poached egg.
That looks perfect.
It really does. I'm gonna put them on paper towels just to drain the excess water. And you kind of wanna pull out a poached egg right before you think it's done because it's gonna continue to kind of cook the yolk even after you take it out. So you don't wanna have that yolk turn into a dry yellow yolk. Look at these, they're so pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna add some herbs. I have parsley, I've got fresh dill, and some fresh chives. And I actually don't want to completely pulverize and grind up the herbs. I want them to stay in little flecks. So, okay, and then that little pulse should have done the trick. So let me just take a look and see. Can you see that? Is it thick?
Oh, it's really thick.
Oh my gosh. I love hollandaise sauce so much. So now it's time to assemble, and I'm just gonna use one of these plates. So I'm gonna start with a piece of the grilled bread, and then I've got some beautiful smoked salmon. You like smoked salmon?
I do.
I'll get one of these beautiful, I can just use my fingers, we're family. Beautiful poached eggs. Okay, now I'm gonna grab the asparagus. And you can put it on the Benedict. I'm just gonna put it to the side rather than try to do a balancing act. Can you see? I just think the green asparagus is such a beautiful kind of accompaniment for the salmon and the hollandaise. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
This is where the rubber meets the road right here. It's gorgeous green. It's very, very thick. If it gets too thick, you can always thin it out with a little bit of hot water, but I think it's actually just perfect. Wow. How gorgeous is this? I mean,
Beautiful.
Oh, and then I forgot, I saved some little chive pieces, so I'll just kind of do a little crisscross. And then a little tiny sprinkling of pepper is always beautiful. How perfect is this for the holidays? Breakfast, brunch, lunch. midnight snack. I'm gonna start by cooking some beautiful salmon fillets, and I'm sprinkling on just some prepared lemon pepper seasoning. Okay, can you see, Alex? So I'm gonna put the salmon down into a pretty hot skillet. I wanna sear the salmon. So I've got some oil in there and it's pretty hot. So I'm gonna let it sit there without moving it. I'm gonna go ahead and season the other side with the lemon pepper. And you might notice I have some fried eggs, sunny side up over here that I've been just finishing frying. So I'm gonna let those sit. They're gonna continue to cook really slowly. We will hope that when it comes time to turn the salmon, it won't stick to the pan. Hope and pray. So the asparagus salad is absolutely amazing. Take a look at this, Alex. What I did was I just took spears of asparagus and a vegetable peeler and just shaved them into little ribbons, and I'm gonna make a salad out of this. So some lemon zest and olive oil, not too much, and some lemon. I'll just squeeze it in with just a couple more ingredients. So I've got some feta cheese, and look at this up close. This is herbed feta cheese, and that means the feta cheese has herbs in it.
Is that what that means?
That's what it means. That's what it means. Some crushed pistachios. So it's just a really amazing, like flavorful, crunchy, nutty salad. And then lots of mint leaves. Did I say the word crunchy? We love the word crunchy in our house. And then I'm gonna grab some salt and pepper as you go across. Don't worry. I need to get rubber bands to tie around my sleeves because I get letters. People worry. People worry about my sleeves. Okie doke. So look at this. Isn't this pretty? I mean, just on its own, I would totally dive into this. Ree Drummond, not so much. I forgot that I have a whole bunch of sliced sugar snap peas. So those go in. I kept looking at the salad thinking, why is this salad like so meager? And that's why one of the main ingredients wasn't in. So pretend you didn't see that. Okay, and then this goes on the platter. Ah, that's better. That's much, much better. Okay, and then spread it out. All right, how's that look so far?
Amazing.
Beautiful, right? And then I'm gonna grab a spatula. Got it? And let's see how these look. Let's see if they stick, if they stuck. That one, oh, that one didn't. It looks so good. All right, I'm gonna let the salmon finish cooking. It's gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will finish off this beautiful dish. So here's what we do. I like it when salmon is just barely done. And then even when you take it out of the pan, it kind of keeps cooking. And then it doesn't get too dry, and it's just perfect by the time you get it to the table. Or the island, in this case. All right. Third piece and the fourth. And then prepare to be amazed. Ooh, I let these eggs get a little bit crispy around the edges, but I love that. So I just cooked these sunny side up, and how I do that is just put, oh no, except for that one. Oh shoot. Oh man, slippery. We'll just do 3 fried eggs.
Yeah,
how does that
3's
sound? We're gonna leave that 4th one out because it's gonna mess things up for us. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna eat this for lunch, but I just put them in a hot skillet with butter and let them kind of set, and then I turn the heat to low, and I literally just leave them there until the eggs are, the whites are cooked and the yolks are still really runny. So more pistachios go on, and then more mint leaves, which I think is part of the thing that's so beautiful about this. And then a squeeze of lemon, especially over the salmon. This looks great. Oh, I forgot. I thought something, I'm forgetting ingredients left and right. Balsamic glaze. And here's what I like to do. This is truly one of the best ingredients known to man. I'll just do it mostly over the salmon. Just kind of do a little crisscross. Lemony salmon and asparagus salad with 3 eggs. want my mom to kind of show us how it's done. So take it away, G. I'll be your humble assistant.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit here and kind of stretch the pizza dough out onto the sheet pan, and you're gonna make the clam mixture for the pizza.
Tell us how it's done, G.
Okay, so we have about a cup of canned clams. This can be done with fresh clams. You can chop them. And you reserve some of the clam juice from the canned clams and some grated garlic cloves. Three or four, if you like garlic. And some fresh oregano.
Yum, yum.
The next thing is a little bit of
Crushed red pepper flakes.
crushed red pepper flakes.
Ooh, I like the
Yum.
look of this.
Some salt, some pepper. Oh, we put olive oil in this too. A little bit of olive oil.
Hey, listen, forgetting ingredients is like the way we do things around here. So you are among
Couple of good
friends.
shakes of
forget.
olive oil. Okay, you want to put a little olive oil
Sure.
there and brush it around.
A drizzle. And then I'm brushing the olive oil. Do you like to get the olive oil on the rim too, so it's nice and greasy and oily?
Yeah,
Okay.
looks good.
All right, I got that oiled. Now what?
Okay, a little mozzarella. You do that one.
You want to help?
And after the mozzarella comes the either Parmigiano Romano or Pecorino Romano, which I think this
Parmigiano Reggiano or Pecorino Romano.
Yes, for sure. Okay, there you go. Whoops, a little bit more.
Okay, gee, that looks so good so
Is that
far.
enough cheese for you?
Well, no, but it's fine. Okay, so how do you get the clams scattered over?
Well,
Show us your technique.
We're about to find out.
Basically, you want to kind of scatter
Right, you wanted
evenly.
it scattered as much as possible,
So every
evenly
piece-
over the crust.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so you bake yours at 500 on a pizza stone. I'm gonna do like 450 just to make sure the
Okay.
bread dough doesn't burn. So I'm gonna get this in the oven for you, since I'm your assistant. All right?
Thank you very
And
much.
What would you say? How long?
Well, when I do it 500, it's 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So maybe 12 to 15?
Okay. Gee.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
It looks perfect.
Yes.
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 Yes. This looks, oh, it smells so good. Gosh, that really reminds me, I need to put more garlic on my pizzas. I mean, the smell of this pizza. So get it onto
Yeah.
the board.
Goodness.
That looks incredible. So how do you like to finish it when it comes out of the oven?
Well, you can sprinkle more cheese. Definitely more cheese.
I
on top
support that decision.
while it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to do something with those oregano leaves.
Yes.
And then,
Artfully place them.
whoops.
Oh, this looks great. What about more crushed red pepper flakes?
Yeah. Or, yeah. Yes. As you serve, or you can put these in a little dish and.
Oh, and then everybody can add to taste.
Yeah, so we won't do too much.
This looks incredible,
My
G.
gosh. It looks perfect.
This came from you. This may be our new favorite pizza. High-end restaurants probably use fresh salmon, but I'm using canned salmon. So I'm gonna make a little mixture to form the burger patties. So I started with a little bit of mayonnaise, an egg. I'm gonna add some Dijon mustard, a good old spoonful. So I'm using Old Bay seasoning, about a teaspoon. Oh, it smells so good. And then I'm gonna do sort of a heaping cup of panko crumbs. This is sort of the filler for the salmon. And then I drained the 2 cans of salmon. And then I'll squeeze in half a lemon. And to help with the flavor, I'm gonna add a whole bunch of sliced green onions. And I think that's it. Oh, pepper. Have pepper. Gotta have pepper. Okay, now I'm gonna smush all this together. It's just nice to be able to turn something into a really exciting dish. Divide this into quarters. So you just wanna form the patties. You don't want them to be too thick that they don't kind of set and cook in the middle, but you don't want them to be too little either. I've got a skillet that's kind of hot already. I've got some olive oil in there. So as I form them, I'm just gonna put them straight in. Okay, so they're frying away. I'm gonna kind of flatten them out. Some are bigger than others. They are not uniform by any means. So I'm gonna let these cook on the first side. Now I'm gonna flip them. They're so golden and luscious. Wow, how about that? Okay, so I'm gonna let them finish cooking on the second side. And of course, I can't leave well enough alone. I have to have a really delicious mayo to put on the buns for the burgers. So I've got the mayo. I'm gonna add some capers and more lemon. Whenever you've got any sort of fish or seafood, you want a lot of lemon. It just kind of brightens it all up. Plenty of pepper. Okay, I'm gonna stir, stir. I'm gonna get the bun and I'm gonna spread plenty of this. I mean, I really wanna taste the mayo, guys. What can I say? And then I'll get one of the salmon patties. This one looks tasty. Look, Stu.
Look at that.
How good does that look?
Perfectly
Wow.
browned.
Right on. The good thing about salmon patties is they don't shrink. So you know when you make a ground beef patty and they kind of shrink. So basically you can just form this to the exact size of the bun you're using and your life will be smooth sailing. So a little bit of lettuce and a tomato and some pickles, of course. You can do jalapenos, you can do thinly sliced red onion, but look at this. Wow. I think it looks so pretty. So I've got 2 bowls that I'm using to bread the zucchini. I've got one with a mixture of milk and lemon and another with a mixture of cornstarch and salt. So I'm gonna get about half of the batch going, really coat it in the cornstarch. The cornstarch is great for like fried vegetables because they fry up really light. They don't have a really heavy flour batter about them. Just watch, you'll see. So I'm gonna fry these until they're golden. I'll take them out to drain. I'll do the same thing with the second batch of zucchini, and then I think I'll go wash my hands. So, Paigey, look at this zucchini. And then I've got some sea salt, and I am pretty generous with the sea salt. Sprinkle it. Oh, that looks so good. Okay, I'm gonna put this into a 200-degree oven just to keep it warm while I make the fish. All right, let's go do Operation Fish, Paige. Okay, so for the breading for the fish, I'm gonna check the temperature on the oil. I've got 2 pans again. I've got one with seasoned flour, just flour, salt, and pepper. And then I've got a second pan with a little bit more flour, and I'm gonna add some cornstarch and baking powder and brewski, otherwise known as beer. Take a sip. It's like, no. I would never do that. All right, and then I'll whisk this together. So you guessed it, the fish is basically a beer batter. And there's really no reason you couldn't do both the fish and the zucchini in the same batter if you kind of wanted to save time. Okay, so look at this batter, Paige. You can make pancakes out of it. Can you imagine beer pancakes?
Yum.
I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, you'd have to figure out what kind of syrup to put on top, but.
Bourbon. Just kidding.
Oh, like a bourbon syrup. You are just
kidding.
full of good ideas. So I've got just regular white fish, and I cut it into little kind of fingers. So I'm putting it into the seasoned flour first, and then right into the batter, and then drop it right into the oil. And I'm gonna keep working to get the fish into the oil. I'll probably do them in 2 batches. See you on the other side. So the second batch of fish is done. I'm just trying to find a paper towel to put it on. Okay. And I made sure to get all the little kind of extra little crispy bits. I got the zucchini out of the oven while I was running around like crazy. So I've got the sea salt. I'm gonna sprinkle it on the fish too. I'm very generous with sea salt, as you can tell. And then I have a beautiful platter to serve it. Some parsley. So store-bought tartar sauce. There is nothing wrong with it. I'm just gonna scatter, ooh, it's hot. Scatter the fried zucchini to and fro. I kind of like it to just be one big, beautiful platter of craziness. Oh gosh, the fish is hot too. Okay, stack the fish up. Yum, yum, yum. Who's excited?
I'm excited.
And then lemons galore. Just kind of pile them here and there. I'll do a little squeeze. Just to start the lemon process. Beautiful. And then just some fresh parsley, kind of big pieces of leaves. All right, fancy fish and fries. I mean, how good does this look? How good does this taste? I'll tell you. What? Perfection. So I have a skillet with butter and olive oil, and I've got some Gulf shrimp. Woo, sizzle. And I'm gonna put them in the skillet and season them when they're in there. Just throw it all in and season it as you go.
Is that cayenne? What is that?
It's like Cajun seasoning.
Oh, right.
So I want the shrimp to get as much flavor as possible and cook over high heat so it gets that great brown butter flavor.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let the shrimp sit and dice up a red bell pepper. I cooked the grits in broth, but you can also just use water and add plenty of seasoning.
Do you want me to chop something?
Oh yeah, would you mind chopping up that jalapeno?
All right. Do you want seeds or no seeds?
I'm gonna leave that up to you. You know I can handle it, so you just...
We can handle it.
I can handle the jalapeno.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn the heat back up in the skillet so it's got all the butter and seasoning and shrimpy flavor. So I am going to cook some onion and bell pepper. I want the heat on high because I want these peppers and onions to get maybe a little bit of black on the edges. I'm gonna put some bacon in here too, by the way.
Oh, yum.
When that's ready high, you can just throw it on in here. I'm gonna make sure this heat is really, really high.
I did about half seeds.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's...
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
That is looking really good.
I'm gonna hand this to you. Will you pop a big tablespoon or so in here and I'll stir it around. You can do a little more, I think.
Okay.
When I said a tablespoon, I meant 2 tablespoons.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna let the tomato paste sit on the pan and cook a little bit. What do you say we add cheese to the grits?
Okay.
You add your cheese and I'm gonna add my cheese. Mascarpone.
Oh, that's a twist.
I was gonna do cream cheese, but I thought mascarpone would make us feel more sophisticated. We're using sharp cheddar cheese and pepper jack, but that's another thing. You can just open your cheese drawer and see what you've got. So I'm gonna pour some broth into the veggie mixture, just so it has that sort of sauciness. Whoa, that's hot. My gosh. But that is one of the keys to 16-minute meals is you gotta get the heat up under your pans because you just can't wait for it to heat up.
Is this part of my job?
Yeah, cut those up and we'll sprinkle those over the top.
Okay.
I'm gonna put some hot sauce into this saucy stuff. All right, I'm gonna put the shrimp into the mix. How about some lemon juice?
Oh, okay.
I think that'll give it that little tang and acid. And then we'll be good to go.
Yay.
I'll stir while you squeeze. I think that looks pretty darn good. What do you think?
Perfect.
I think it's ready. Hi. Oh, look at that. And then some green onions.
So beautiful. Oh my gosh, those grits are honestly, they're perfect.
Almost every Caesar salad has chopped romaine. Sometimes I'll do an entire heart of romaine, but this time I cut them into quarters. It is going to make a gorgeous and elegant salad. I really like changing up flavors, but also the way I present a recipe. So now it's all about the Caesar dressing. I have a jar of garlic olive oil. This is going to add such a flavor punch to my regular Caesar dressing recipe. So I'll start with about half a cup, and it saves me a step because I don't have to mince the garlic myself. Dijon is something I like to add to Caesar dressing. It adds a great tanginess, about a tablespoon. Same amount of balsamic vinegar, a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce, and this is controversial. Not everybody likes to add anchovies to their Caesar dressing, but I do. It's very subtle, it's not fishy. I'm adding about 4 fillets. And then I've got a lemon, and I'm gonna add about half of the juice. Okay, now some salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna mix it up before I add the next ingredient. That came together very quickly. I'm gonna add some grated Parmesan. The texture of Parmesan cheese in Caesar dressing is so nice. Okay, this dressing is just the right consistency. You want it to be pretty thin because you want it to kind of have a chance to seep into the leaves of the romaine. It's just lovely. And I like that you don't have to toss it. It's nice to just pour them down these strips of romaine lettuce. And I'm gonna cover the top of this salad with beautiful cooked shrimp. These are about 16 to 20 count, which means there are 16 to 20 shrimp per pound. But you can use whatever shrimp you have. You can do really big, colossal shrimp. You can do tiny little popcorn shrimp. That would be fine too. I'm gonna add some slices of avocado. Because I left the lettuce in such large pieces, I wanted to leave the avocado in pretty spears. This salad really is as much about the presentation as it is about the flavors. You know what? Something's missing. Croutons. That's good because I have that covered. I would not have a Caesar salad without croutons. I made my own, the same croutons I make time and time again. They definitely needed no revamping. They're garlicky croutons and they're very simple. I put half a loaf of crusty French bread cut into cubes on a sheet pan and spread them out. Then I drizzled over 1/4 cup of the garlic olive oil I used in the dressing. I sprinkled them with half a teaspoon of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, tossed the cubes to coat them, then put them in a 250-degree oven. And when 25 minutes were up, they were deliciously crispy, and I took them out and let them cool. Croutons are the best. I could snack on these, honestly. Now just a couple more things to finish off this beautiful salad. I've got some fresh Parmesan. And then just for a little bit of herby freshness, I've got some parsley leaves, which I think is kind of in with the theme of keeping things in big pieces. And then this can never hurt. Just another little squeeze of lemon juice just to finish things off. This is a Caesar salad with shrimp. I may never be able to go back to the old way of doing things. So I have a whole bunch of cooked shrimp that's chopped into little bits, and I'm gonna add some lump crab meat and a little bit of decadence here, some lobster meat right out of the claw. Look at this, it's incredible. Some chopped green bell pepper, bunch of chopped celery, and some sliced green onion. And then I'll just stir this mixture of seafood and veggies until it's all mixed together. So now I'm gonna add some other scrumptious ingredients, a bunch of mayonnaise. You know this recipe is from the 70s when you see this amount of mayonnaise going in. But this is basically the liquid of the casserole. And it's also what makes the casserole so incredible. And then a good spoonful of Dijon mustard, or any sort of grainy mustard. And then just a little touch of sherry. This is optional. In fact, my mom's original recipe did not have sherry in it, but I have found with kind of creamy casseroles like this, just a little touch of sherry gives it the most incredible flavor. And then, of course, bringing it into the current day, dash of hot sauce, a few dashes of Worcestershire. And then for seasoning, I'm gonna add some Old Bay seasoning because it is a seafood casserole, and Old Bay seasoning was made for seafood. And then salt, and you wanna add plenty of black pepper. A couple of good sprinkles. All right, now I've gotta mix all this together. Now, the casserole goes into the casserole dish. Now, look how creamy this is. But I would like to point out that there is no cheese in this casserole. What is the world coming to? What's gotten into me? I don't even recognize myself. So I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap. And then I'm gonna pop it in the fridge for an hour. I'm gonna top the whole thing with potato chips. Yeehaw! These are just regular, straight up potato chips, crushed. They're not like finely crushed to a crumb. They're still in big chunks. And as you can see, I am being very, very generous. The recipe says 1 bag of potato chips. Never mind that bags of potato chips now are probably 3 times the size as they were in the 70s. But you know what? I like to follow instructions. It's the recipe's fault. All right, so I'm gonna put this into a 350-degree oven and I'll bake it for about 30 minutes until it's nice and bubbly. It's all seafood. It's shrimp, crab meat, and lobster mixed with a creamy mixture. I'll give you a little parsley on yours.
I'm just going for it.
I am too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh.
This is a special.
I've been boiling 12 ounces of jumbo pasta shells, the kind that you want to fill with all sorts of goodness. I need the shells to cool just a little bit before I stuff them, so this is a good time to do that. I've got 2 pounds of shrimp. I want the pieces of shrimp to be small and bite-sized. So I'll start to stir the shrimp, and then I'll add a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Now I'm gonna add a little liquid to the pan, just a splash of white wine. You gotta have wine with shrimp scampi. It's a rule. And a squeeze of lemon juice, not too much. I'm gonna give this a little sprinkling of salt and pepper. Okay, I'm gonna turn the heat off because this shrimp is done. And I'm gonna pour this whole mixture onto a plate. All right, I'm gonna turn the heat back on, grab some butter, and I'm gonna start on the white sauce. I'll put 8 tablespoons of butter into the pan to melt, then add a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, whisk it in, and cook it for 3 minutes. Next, I'll pour in 4 cups of whole milk and 2 cups of heavy cream, whisking constantly and cooking until it's thickened. The sauce is looking lovely and thick, so I'm gonna add more garlic to the mix. I use the first half on the shrimp and the other half is going into the sauce. And then I'll add some minced parsley and salt and pepper. I love any creamy pasta dish. Okay, I'll stir this. Ooh, it's just glorious. Okay, I'm gonna let this simmer, keep getting more and more flavorful. And I'm gonna mix up the cheese mixture for the filling. It starts with ricotta cheese. I like to use whole milk. And then 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. I let it soften so it'll be easy to mix it all together. I'll add a cup of Parmesan and then a beaten egg to hold everything together. And the filling needs a little salt and pepper. And parsley in here too. I like how you just keep layering in the flavors in all the different components. I'm gonna add every last bit of the shrimp. All right, now I'm gonna stuff the shells. First thing I'll do is put a little bit of this sauce in the bottom of the baking dish. For dinner tonight, I'm using a ceramic dish. For the freezer dish, I'm gonna use a foil pan. You want them to be full enough that it almost looks like it's about to pour out. And I'm gonna top the shells with more sauce. There is sauce everywhere you turn in this dish. You wanna add enough that it's just filling the pan. It's all around the sides. And then I've gotta add some more cheese, mozzarella this time. Pan 2 is destined for the freezer. So sauce, stuffed shells, more sauce, mozzarella, and that's it. So this is for a future dinner, and this is for tonight. I'm gonna get it into a 375-degree oven for 25 minutes, and that's all there is to it. To go over the top of the shrimp tacos, I'm gonna throw together a really simple slaw. I've got some regular cabbage and some purple cabbage. And now I'll make the dressing, which is equally simple. I'm gonna start with about half a cup of mayonnaise and some milk. I always start with that creamy base, no matter what dressing I'm making. And then just sugar, vinegar, and cayenne. I like to add a little sweetness to the dressing. Hyacinth and Mallory have been going to market for me. They went in the months leading up to the mercantile opening. I was a little busy and couldn't go, and they have been so helpful to me. I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper. They go to market, kind of scout out what's there, separate the wheat from the chaff, and then we get together. They show me everything they found, and we make our selections. Okay, now the dressing goes over the cabbage. That really was the perfect amount of dressing. It's a good sign. I just have a couple of more things to add to the slaw. I'm just gonna use half a fresh jalapeno, and then I have a ton of cilantro. Now I just gotta toss it up. Make sure all of the cabbage is coated in the slaw. It's time to move on to the shrimp. I've got a skillet that I've been heating some vegetable oil in, and I'm just gonna go straight into the skillet with them. The great thing about shrimp with 16-minute meals is they take almost no time at all to cook. Even some big pieces of chicken can take a good 15, 20 minutes to cook all the way through. Shrimp, we're just talking about a couple minutes, especially when they're this nice small size.
All right, getting another fabulous Pioneer woman meal.
I wonder what we're gonna have this time.
I know, she always sort of taunts me by not telling me. She keeps that sort of under wraps.
It's an adventure that way.
Yeah, I think she likes to spring surprises on us.
The shrimp are cooking away, so it's a good time to sprinkle on a little bit of cumin. I've got some red enchilada sauce. If you can find Mexican red sauce in a can, it is particularly tasty. Okay, now this skillet is so hot, the sauce is really gonna start bubbling up. And just because I can, I'm gonna drop in a little pat of butter just to add some extra richness and loveliness and awesomeness, and I could go on and on. So I'm gonna turn the heat down to simmer just so they keep warm. Okay, I just wrapped tortillas in a paper towel. I'm just gonna warm them up for about 40 seconds.
All right, I'm hungry, are you?
Me too.
Yay, it's always nice to have dinner meetings. Love it. Hello.
Hey, get on in here, girls.
Oh, your ears are here now.
Good. How's it going?
Great, hi.
Oh my gosh,
fantastic.
it does smell so good.
I am cooking you shrimp tacos, and I am so glad you showed up for our meeting.
Yeah, I love
Important things
I
here.
am very hungry. I want this meeting to begin.
Yes.
So I've got the shrimp simmering away. Oh, I've got wine glasses for us too.
Oh, say no more.
Hyacinth
my
knows
gosh.
me so well. She knows when I'm dropping subtle hints.
Oh,
that
yeah, that was subtle.
I'm
Yeah,
digging
no,
in
just
over
dig in,
here.
girls.
Don't mind me.
Oh.
Woo, hot, hot, hot.
Yum.
So yeah, just dive in. Here,
Okay.
Mal, get some shrimp.
Ooh, yum.
Slaw.
Yes, indeed. Say no more.
And it is
Oh my gosh, this looks so good.
spicy,
Okay.
shall we say.
Okay. I might put on the side for now.
So, Mal, what is wrong with this picture?
Wedding diets.
She's got to fit into her wedding dress. Oh, I've been there. I've been there. It's been 20 years, but I've been there.
We're beyond that now.
I'm ready
You get
be
to a
past
point
it.
where you just don't worry about it that much.
Your pico de gallo is my absolute favorite.
yes.
Oh, I'm actually gonna grab some avocado.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a glass of wine.
Got it?
Say no more.
You guys ready to go eat?
Absolutely.
Cheers.